In the vast expanse of the Galactic Academy, where stars whispered secrets through the void, and alien species mingled like colors in a cosmic palette, I, Illy, found myself far from the familiar blue marble of Earth. I was just a human exchange student, thrust into this interstellar melting pot to foster understanding between worlds, but understanding. That felt like a distant dream amid the sneers and sidelong glances from beings who saw humans as little more than quaint relics from a backwater planet. We were the newcomers, the odd ones out, with our fragile bodies and unassuming tech. Yet, there was something about us that intrigued them, our unpredictability, perhaps, or the fire in our spirits that no amount of advanced evolution could extinguish. The Academy sprawled across a hollowed-out asteroid, its halls alive with the hum of anti-grav lifts and the chatter of 100 languages translated seamlessly by neural implants. I navigated the corridors with a mix of awe and isolation, my Earth-made boots echoing softly against the polished obsidian floors. Classes ranged from quantum diplomacy to xenobiology, but I was here on a whim, a scholarship won through sheer luck in an interstellar lottery. Little did I know that fate had a sharper edge waiting for me. It started innocently enough, or so it seemed. During a break in the Grand Atrium, where holographic stars danced overhead, I bumped into her Zara, the Princess of Zerathia. She was a vision that could stop a comet in its tracks, flowing white hair cascading like a nebula's glow, skin as pale and luminous as moonlight on fresh snow, and those delicate, pointed ears that twitched with every emotion, adding an elfin charm to her already ethereal beauty. Her body moved with a grace that spoke of royal breeding, curves accentuated by a form-fitting gown of iridescent silk that hugged her like a second skin, leaving just enough to the imagination to drive one mad. Zerathia was a kingdom of ancient mystics, their people known for their psychic affinities, an elegant, almost seductive demeanor. Zara embodied it all, her eyes, a piercing violet, holding the depth of galaxies. She was surrounded by her entourage, a flock of lesser nobles from various worlds, all laughing at some private jest. I, clumsy human that I was, accidentally knocked over a floating orb of refreshments, sending glowing liquids splashing across the floor. The group turned, their amusement shifting to me. Zara's lips curved into a mischievous smile, her voice like a melody from a forgotten symphony. "Oh, look, the little Earthling has arrived to entertain us," she teased, her accent lilting with an otherworldly charm. The others chuckled, but there was no malice in her tone, just playful curiosity. I stammered an apology, heat rising to my cheeks. "Sorry, Your Highness, I'm still getting used to everything." She waved it off with an elegant flick of her wrist, her gown shimmering under the artificial lights. "No harm done, human Illy, isn't it? The one they say has a primitive charm." Her friends snickered, but she stepped closer, her scent, a mix of exotic flowers and stardust, enveloping me. Up close, her presence was intoxicating, her gowned figure radiating a warmth that belied the cool poise of her demeanor. To lighten the moment, or perhaps to test me, she reached into a hidden pouch at her side and pulled out an odd relic, a rusty sword, its blade dulled by time. Hilt wrapped in frayed leather that looked like it had seen eons of neglect. It was comically out of place in this high-tech haven, more like a prop from an ancient Earth museum than anything galactic. "Here," she said, thrusting it toward me with a laugh that echoed like chimes. "A toy for our pet human. Play with this junk from the ruins of my homeworld. Maybe it'll make you feel more heroic." Her violet eyes sparkled with amusement, and her entourage burst into laughter, the sound rippling through the atrium. I took it hesitantly, feeling the weight in my palm. It was heavier than it looked, the rust flaking slightly under my fingers. "A toy? Thanks, I guess," I replied, trying to match her banter, but as my hand closed around the hilt, something shifted. A subtle warmth spread through my veins like sunlight-piercing clouds. The sword trembled. No, that couldn't be. I shook off the sensation, tucking it into my belt as Zara and her group wandered off, still giggling. "Don't lose it, Earthling," she called over her shoulder, her hips swaying with that effortless allure. "Who knows, it might bring you luck." Little did I know, luck was the least of it. That night, in my cramped dorm pod overlooking the asteroid's cratered surface, I pulled out the sword again, examining it under the dim glow of my reading lamp. The Academy was quiet, save for the distant hum of life support systems. I traced the etchings on the blade, faint symbols that looked almost like ancient runes from Earth's forgotten myths. "Junk, huh?" I muttered to myself, gripping the hilt tighter, and then, it happened. A surge of energy coursed through me, electric and alive. The sword erupted in a cascade of golden light, blinding in its intensity. I dropped it instinctively, stumbling back as the glow filled the room, pulsing like a heartbeat. The light wasn't just bright. It was warm, resonant, as if awakening from a long slumber. When my vision cleared, the blade shone with an inner radiance, the rust melting away to reveal a pristine, gleaming edge that hummed with power. But only in my hand when I let go. It dulled back to its rusty state, inert and ordinary. My heart pounded. What the hell was this? I gripped it again, and the glow returned. Stronger, wrapping around me like a protective aura. Alarms blared suddenly, the Academy's sensors detecting an anomalous energy spike. Security drones whirred to life outside my door, and I knew trouble was coming. But in that moment, holding the shining blade, I felt invincible. Human, weak, not anymore. The next day dawned with chaos. Whispers spread through the halls like wildfire. A human had triggered some ancient artifact. Zara found me in the commons, her usual poise cracked with genuine surprise. "Illy, what did you do?" she asked, her violet eyes wide, that gowned figure drawing closer than propriety allowed. Her hand brushed mine as she reached for the sword, but when she touched it, nothing happened. It remained dull in her grasp. Frustration flickered across her beautiful face, her pointed ears twitching. It's the Lost Blade of Terra," she murmured, awe creeping into her voice. "Legends say it was forged by your ancestors 10,000 years ago, hidden in our ruins after a great war. It awakens only for Earth's true bloodline." I stared at her, the implications sinking in. Me, a descendant of ancient warriors, the Academy's elite, aliens from a dozen worlds, gathered around, murmuring in disbelief. But Zara's expression softened, a hint of something deeper in her gaze. "You're no pet, Illy," she said softly, her body leaning in, the curve of her form brushing against me. "You're something more." As the day unfolded, the true storm brewed. Scouts reported an invasion fleet approaching, rival forces from a shadowed empire, seeking to claim the Academy's knowledge for themselves. Panic rippled through the students, but I felt a pull from the blade, its glow urging me forward. Zara stayed by my side, her hand slipping into mine, her warmth igniting sparks I hadn't anticipated. "If the prophecy is true," she whispered, her breath hot against my ear, "you could save us all." We raced to the Academy's defense nexus, the sword pulsing brighter with every step. Alarms wailed as the first enemy ships pierced the asteroid's shields, lasers scorching the surface. I stood at the forefront, Zara beside me, her elegant gown torn at the edges from the haste. "Illy, be careful," she pleaded, her violet eyes locking onto mine with a mix of fear and admiration. Gripping the blade, I swung it experimentally, and an arc of golden energy lashed out, slicing through an incoming drone like butter. The crowd gasped. Emboldened, I charged into the fray, the sword guiding my movements with unnatural precision. Enemy fighters swarmed, their sleek vessels darting like predators. One bore down on us, its cannons charging, but I leaped, propelled by the blade's power, and cleaved it in two with a single stroke. Debris rained down, and cheers erupted from the defenders. Zara fought alongside, her psychic abilities flinging telekinetic blasts, but it was clear the blade amplified everything. Another ship targeted her. I intercepted, the glow shielding us both in a dome of light. "You're incredible," she breathed, her body pressed against mine in the heat of battle, her curves soft yet strong. The fleet's commander, a hulking alien warlord, broadcasted his ultimatum, surrender or perish, but with the blade in hand, I felt the legacy of humanity surging through me. We weren't weak, we were the hidden kings of the stars. I rallied the Academy's forces, leading a counterstrike that halved their numbers in minutes. Ships exploded in brilliant fireballs, the void alive with chaos. As the battle raged, Zara pulled me aside in a brief lull, her hands cupping my face. "Illy, it's more than prophecy." Her lips hovered close, the promise of something forbidden and electric hanging in the air, but duty called. The warlord's flagship loomed. In a daring boarding maneuver, I infiltrated their command deck, the blade carving through bulkheads. Face to face with the warlord, his massive form towering, I dodged his energy whips and struck true, the golden light piercing his armor, ending the threat in a blaze. Victorious, we returned to the Academy, heroes amid the ruins. Zara knelt before me, not in submission but in equality, her violet eyes shining. "You're our king now, Illy, and perhaps mine." But as celebrations began, a shadow lingered. The blade's glow whispered warnings of greater threats, and Zara's touch ignited a fire that blurred lines between worlds. Humanity wasn't just surviving, we were conquering hearts, and stars alike. The celebrations echoed through the Academy's vast halls like a symphony of relief and triumph, but beneath the cheers and clinking of crystalline goblets filled with nebula-brewed elixirs, I felt the blade's subtle hum against my side, a reminder that victory was fleeting in the stars. Zara remained close, her presence a magnetic pull that drew me in even as the crowd swirled around us. Her white hair caught the flickering lights of holographic fireworks, shimmering like threads of pure starlight, and her gown, now slightly disheveled from the battle's frenzy, clung to her curves in ways that made my pulse quicken. Those delicate pointed ears, flushed with the adrenaline of survival, twitched ever so slightly as she leaned in, her violet eyes locking onto mine with an intensity that spoke volumes unspoken. "Illy," she murmured, her voice a velvet whisper amid the noise, "you wielded that blade like it was an extension of your soul, but there's more to it, to you, than even the prophecies foretell." Her hand brushed my arm, fingers lingering just a moment too long, sending a shiver through me that had nothing to do with the cooling air recyclers. The touch was electric, charged with the unspoken tension that had built during the fight, when our bodies had pressed together in the heat of danger. Now, in the aftermath, that closeness felt deliberate, inviting. We slipped away from the throng, her leading me through a side corridor lined with glowing vines from her homeworld, their bioluminescent leaves casting soft, intimate shadows. The Academy's defenses were still on high alert, sensors sweeping for any remnants of the invasion, but in this secluded alcove, it felt like we were the only two beings in the universe. Zara paused, turning to face me, her body mere inches from mine. The scent of her exotic blooms mixed with the faint ozone of psychic energy filled my senses, intoxicating and heady. "The Lost Blade of Terra," she said softly, her gaze dropping to the sword at my belt, now dulled but ready to awaken at my touch. "It's bound to you, Illy, only you. That means something profound, something that ties our fates together." I swallowed hard, the weight of her words sinking in as much as the allure of her form. Her skin, pale and flawless, seemed to glow faintly under the vine light, and the way her gown draped over her hips, accentuating the graceful sway that had captivated me from the start, made it hard to focus on anything else. "What if it's not just about the blade?" I replied, my voice huskier than intended. My hand reached out instinctively, tracing the edge of her sleeve, feeling the warmth of her arm beneath. She didn't pull away. Instead, she stepped closer, her breath mingling with mine. The suspense hung thick in the air, like the charged atmosphere before a stellar storm. Whispers from the blade echoed in my mind, not words, but sensations, warnings of shadows lurking in the Academy's underbelly, perhaps spies from the defeated fleet, or ancient rivals stirred by the blade's revival. But in this moment, those threats felt distant, overshadowed by the immediate pull between us. Zara's lips parted slightly, her violet eyes darkening with a mix of curiosity and desire. "Humans are so tactile," she whispered, her pointed ears quivering as if attuned to my racing heartbeat. "On Zerathia, we connect through minds first, but you make me want to explore the physical." Her words sent a thrill through me, suspense building as I wondered if this was the calm before another storm or the spark of something irreversible. I leaned in, my fingers now entwining with hers, feeling the subtle psychic hum that emanated from her touch, like a gentle current syncing with my own energy. The blade at my side warmed faintly, as if approving, its golden essence subtly influencing the air around us, making colors more vivid, sensations more acute. Zara's free hand rose to my chest, pressing against the fabric of my uniform, right over my heart. "Feel that?" she asked, her voice a sultry murmur. Our rhythms aligning. It's rare for a Zerathian to bond like this with an outsider. The erotic tension coiled tighter, every brush of skin amplifying the moment. I could feel the curve of her body against mine as she closed the gap, her breasts rising and falling with quickened breaths, the elegant fabric of her gown whispering against my clothes. It was as if the universe had conspired to heighten every detail, the soft give of her lips as they hovered near mine, the way her white hair fell across her shoulder, exposing the graceful line of her neck. My mind raced with possibilities. Would a kiss bridge our worlds, or ignite the very threats the blade warned of? Suspense gripped me. I knew that giving in could expose vulnerabilities, yet resisting felt impossible. As our lips finally met, the world blurred into a haze of sensation. Her kiss was tentative at first, exploratory, tasting of sweet alien nectar and the thrill of the forbidden, but it deepened quickly, her body molding to mine with a fervor that surprised us both. Her hands roamed up my back, fingers digging in with a gentle urgency, while mine traced the contours of her waist, feeling the heat radiating through her gown. The erotic charge was palpable, every touch sending waves of pleasure that mingled with the blade's subtle energy. amplifying it into something almost euphoric. Zara gasped softly against my mouth, her pointed ears flushing deeper, a sign of her arousal in Zerathian physiology. We broke apart briefly, breaths ragged, her violet eyes gleaming with a mix of wonder and hunger. "Illy, it's like the blade's glow, but warmer, more alive," she confessed, her voice laced with suspenseful undertone, as if she sensed the same shadows I did. Indeed, a distant alarm chirped faintly from the corridor, perhaps a false echo, or a real intruder probing the weakened shields. But she pulled me deeper into the alcove, her body pressing insistently, the curves of her form inviting further exploration. My hands slid lower, cupping her hips, drawing a soft moan from her that echoed in the confined space. The suspense intensified. What if we were discovered? A human and a Zerathian princess, entangled in passion while the Academy licked its wounds. Yet that risk only fueled the fire. Zara's gown slipped slightly off one shoulder, revealing the smooth expanse of her pale skin, dotted with faint, glowing freckles that pulsed like tiny stars in response to her emotions. I kissed along her neck, savoring the taste, the way her body arched into me, her legs entwining with mine in a dance of desire. "More," she whispered, her psychic energy weaving into my thoughts, sharing flashes of her longing, visions of us lost in each other amid the stars. Time stretched, the erotic interplay building like a crescendo. Her hands explored me in return, deft fingers undoing clasps with an eagerness that belied her royal composure. The air grew thick with our shared heat, every caress a promise, every sigh a revelation. But woven through it all was the blade's insistent hum, a suspenseful reminder that greater forces were at play. As we surrendered to the moment, bodies moving in harmonious rhythm, I couldn't shake the feeling that this intimacy was awakening something deeper, not just between us, but in the fabric of the galaxy itself. Deeper into the night, as our passions ebbed into a tender afterglow, Zara nestled against me, her white hair splayed across my chest like a silken veil. "There's a chamber in the Academy's core," she murmured, her voice still husky, "where ancient artifacts are studied. We should go there, uncover more about the blade, but Ali, promise me we'll face whatever comes together." Her fingers traced lazy patterns on my skin, reigniting sparks even in repose. I nodded, the suspense coiling anew. The invasion might have been repelled, but whispers from the blade suggested allies of the warlord still lurked, perhaps even within these walls. As we dressed in the dim light, her gown readjusting to hug her form once more, I felt the erotic bond we'd forged strengthening my resolve. Humanity's legacy wasn't just in weapons, it was in connections like this, turning aliens into lovers, foes into allies, venturing out. The corridors felt eerier now, shadows lengthening as if alive. A faint vibration from the blade alerted me to movement ahead, a cloaked figure slipping into a restricted access point. "Zara," I whispered, gripping her hand, "we're not alone." Her eyes widened, but a spark of excitement mingled with fear. Her body tensing against mine in readiness, we followed stealthily, the erotic aftertaste of our encounter sharpening my senses, making every step a blend of caution and anticipation. The figure led us toward the core chamber, where holographic displays flickered with forbidden knowledge. As we approached, the blade began to warm again, its glow threatening to betray us. Suspense peaked. Who was this intruder and what secrets did they seek? Zara's psychic probe brushed my mind, sharing her intuition, a spy, perhaps drawn by the blade's activation. We pressed on, bodies close, hearts synced, the erotic tension evolving into a deeper partnership. In the chamber's anteroom, we confronted the shadow, a rogue alien scholar, eyes wild with greed. "The blade's power is mine," he snarled, lunging with an energy dagger. I drew the sword, its golden light erupting only for me, illuminating the room in a blaze that blinded him momentarily. Zara flanked, her telekinesis pinning him against the wall. The fight was swift, suspenseful strikes and dodges, but with her at my side, we subdued him easily. Interrogating, we learned of a larger conspiracy, remnants of the invasion force plotting a counterstrike, using Academy insiders. As we secured him for the authorities, Zara turned to me, her body still flushed from the adrenaline. "Illy, every moment with you is a revelation," she said, pulling me into another embrace. The erotic pull returned, but tempered now with purpose. We delved into the chamber's archives, the blade interfacing with ancient consoles, revealing maps of hidden human outposts, proof that Terra's descendants had seeded the stars long ago. The night wore on, suspense building toward dawn. Zara's touches grew more intimate again, her gown slipping in the privacy of discovery as we pored over holograms. "Imagine," she breathed, her curves pressing against me, "a union of our worlds starting with us." The thought was erotic, enticing, but the blade's warnings grew louder. The true threat was approaching. Faster than we knew, in the quiet hours, as we stole moments of passion amid the revelations, I realized this was no mere fling. It was destiny, woven with suspense, and desire, humanity rising not through force alone, but through hearts entangled across the void. As the revelations from the ancient consoles faded into the chamber's holographic haze, leaving us breathless and entwined in a cocoon of shared secrets, I couldn't ignore the blade's insistent pulse anymore. It was like a living entity, urging us onward into the unknown. Zara's body, still warm and yielding against mine, shifted as she sensed it too, her violet eyes narrowing with a mix of lingering desire and dawning concern. "Illy, the maps, they point to a hidden vault beneath the academy," she said, her voice a dramatic undertone that cut through the afterglow like a siren's call. Her white hair draped over us like a protective shroud, but the thrill of discovery and the lurking danger stirred something primal in the air, making every shadow seem alive with possibility. We moved as one, slipping from the chamber into the labyrinthine underlevels of the asteroid, where the hum of machinery grew louder, echoing like the heartbeat of a slumbering giant. The corridors here were less polished, veins of raw ore threading through the walls, and the air carried a metallic tang that heightened the drama unfolding around us. Zara's hand gripped mine tightly, her pointed ears attuned to every creak and whisper, while the blade at my side began to emit a faint, golden shimmer even without my direct touch, as if anticipating the climax ahead. The prophecies spoke of trials, she confessed, her curvaceous form brushing against me in the narrow passage, sending thrilling sparks that blended fear with the remnants of our passion. But they never mentioned a human heart entwined with a Zerathian soul. What if this vault holds the key to why the blade chose you and us? Curiosity gnawed at me, thrilling and insistent, as we descended deeper, the path illuminated by sporadic emergency lights that cast elongated shadows, turning our journey into a theatrical descent into mystery. Suddenly, a tremor shook the ground, a surprising jolt that nearly threw us off balance. Alarms blared faintly from above, but down here, isolated, it felt like the academy itself was awakening to some ancient grudge. "Earthquake," I whispered, but Zara shook her head, her pale skin flushing with dramatic intensity. "No, at least something stirring the core. The invasion wasn't random, they were after this." We pressed on, the thrill building like a storm on the horizon, each step echoing with the weight of untold history. The vault's entrance loomed ahead, a massive door etched with the same runes as the blade, sealed by a biometric lock that pulsed with an eerie red glow. As I approached, the sword in my belt ignited fully, its golden light flooding the space and interfacing with the door's mechanisms. Gears ground dramatically, ancient and protesting, as if reluctant to reveal their secrets after millennia. The door creaked open with a surprising hiss of pressurized air, releasing a gust that carried the scent of dust and forgotten power, curious artifacts glinting in the dim interior, from crystalline orbs to holographic tomes suspended in stasis fields. Inside, the vault was a treasure trove of human legacy, thrilling in its scope, relics from Terra's lost era, when our ancestors roamed the stars as conquerors, not curiosities. Zara's eyes widened in surprise, her gowned figure stepping tentatively over thresholds lined with glowing runes. These are proofs of alliances long broken," she murmured, her voice laced with dramatic reverence. But as we delved deeper, a holographic projection flickered to life, a spectral figure of an ancient human warrior, his form towering and ethereal. "Descendant of Terra," it intoned, its voice booming through the chamber like thunder. "You have awakened the blade, but beware, the shadows of betrayal linger." The projection unfolded a tale that sent chills down my spine. 10,000 years ago, humans forged pacts with Zerathia and other worlds, sharing technology that birthed the blade as a symbol of unity. But jealousy festered. Alien factions, fearing human dominance, orchestrated a betrayal, scattering our people and hiding the relics. The dramatic climax of the hologram showed a cataclysmic battle, ships clashing in fiery explosions, with the blade's wielder, a figure strikingly like me, sacrificing himself to seal the vault. "Only one of pure blood can reclaim it," the specter warned. "But the cost is alliance reborn or empires fallen." Thrilling curiosity surged as Zara touched a console, her psychic energy syncing with it, pulling up maps of hidden fleets, remnants of that ancient war, now stirring under the command of the warlord's successors. "Illy, look," she gasped, her body tensing against mine in surprise. The invasion was a probe. The real force is massing at the nebula's edge, thousands of ships, armed with anti-human tech. The revelation hit like a bolt, dramatic and unforeseen. We weren't just survivors. We were pawns in a galactic chess game, with the Blade as the queen. But the true surprise came when the vault trembled again, this time violently, cracks spiderwebbing across the walls as hidden explosives detonated. "Intruders!" I shouted, drawing the blade, its glow erupting into a blazing inferno that illuminated a squad of cloaked assassins bursting through a side breach. They were elite commandos from the Shadowed Empire, their forms augmented with cybernetic enhancements, eyes glowing with malevolent intent. The fight erupted in a thrilling whirlwind of motion, dramatic clashes echoing through the vault. I swung the blade, its edge slicing through armor like paper, golden arcs of energy deflecting incoming blasts. One assassin lunged at Zara, his energy whip cracking like lightning, but she countered with a psychic wave that hurled him back, her pointed ears flaring with effort. "Behind you," she cried. As another flanked me, I pivoted, the blade guiding my strike to disarm him in a shower of sparks. The curiosity of their tactics fueled my adrenaline. They targeted the blade specifically, using dampening fields to try and dull its glow, but my human touch reignited it each time, surprising them with bursts of power. The climax intensified as their leader emerged, a towering figure in obsidian armor, wielding a counterpart weapon, a dark sword that absorbed light, countering my blade's radiance. "The prophecy ends here, Terran scum," he snarled, his voice a dramatic growl that reverberated off the walls. We circled each other in the vault center, relics shattering around us from stray shots, the air thick with dust and tension. Zara flanked, her telekinesis hurling debris at him, but he shrugged it off, his blade clashing with mine in an explosion of light and shadow. The thrilling duel built to a fever pitch, strikes parried with bone-jarring force, each impact sending shockwaves that cracked the floor. Curiosity burned. What was this dark blade? A twisted mirror of mine, forged from Betrayal's remnants? He pressed the attack, his superior strength driving me back, but the Lost Blade whispered strategies into my mind, ancient maneuvers from Terra's warriors, surprising even myself. I fainted low, then unleashed a upward slash that pierced his guard, golden light flooding his armor seams. He staggered, surprise etching his alien features, but in a dramatic twist. He activated a self-destruct sequence, the vault systems overloading, ceilings crumbling in a cascade of rock and metal. "If I fall, so does the legacy," he roared. Zara and I raced for the exit, the blade's glow shielding us from falling debris, her hand in mine as we dodged collapsing pillars. Thrilling escapes narrowed by seconds, a boulder nearly crushed us, but her psychic push diverted it. Lasers from dying assassins scorched the air, but my swings deflected them. We burst into the corridor just as the vault sealed behind us in a final, dramatic implosion, burying the secrets and the assassins under tons of rubble. Panting, we collapsed against the wall, her body trembling against mine, violet eyes wide with the surprise of survival. "Illy?" That was the climax they feared. She whispered, her curves pressing close in relief, but curiosity lingered. The maps we'd glimpsed showed more vaults across the galaxy, and the dark blade's echo hummed in my thoughts, hinting at unfinished business. Above, the Academy stirred to the chaos, reinforcements arriving. But the true thrill was the bond we'd forged in the fire, humanity not just wielding power, but inspiring loyalty in the stars. Yet, as alarms wailed, and Zara's lips found mine in a fierce, dramatic kiss, a surprising transmission crackled through my neural implant, coordinates to another relic. Broadcasted by the vault's dying systems, the war wasn't over. It was escalating, curious alliances forming in the shadows. We ascended, ready for the next act, the blades glow a beacon of thrilling defiance. Zara's gaze held promises of more dramatic unions, surprising revelations that would redefine the galaxy. Humanity's rise wasn't a solitary conquest. It was a symphony of hearts and blades, echoing through the void with curious, surprising force. The drama peaked as we emerged into the Academy's core, where council elders awaited, their faces etched with shock at our tale. "The blade has chosen," one intoned, but Zara stepped forward, her elegant form radiating authority. "And so have I." Her declaration sent ripples through the assembly, a thrilling affirmation that blurred lines between species. But in the midst of accolades, a holographic alert blared, the enemy fleet advancing, faster than anticipated, their numbers swelling with surprising reinforcements from neutral worlds. Curiosity turned to urgency. We had to rally, the climax of this chapter demanding action. I raised the blade high, its light bathing the hall in gold, inspiring cheers that shook the foundations. Zara at my side, her touch a thrilling anchor, we prepared for the storm. The surprises kept unfolding. Scans revealed the Dark Blade's leader had survived, teleported away at the last second, vowing revenge. The night descended into strategic frenzy, maps unfurled, alliances forged in haste. Zara and I stole a moment on a balcony overlooking the stars, her white hair whipping in the artificial wind, body leaning into mine with dramatic intimacy. "Whatever comes, Illy, we're the surprise they never saw," she said, her voice thrilling with resolve. As ships mobilized, the blade pulsed with eager energy, curious about the battles ahead. The galaxy held its breath, the climax building to a galactic scale. Humanity, once dismissed, now the thrilling force of change, with love as its surprising weapon. As the Council's cheers faded into a determined buzz of preparations, with starships humming to life beyond the viewport, and tactical holograms flickering like frantic fireflies, Zara and I stood on that balcony, the weight of the galaxy's gaze settling over us like an ill-fitting cloak. Her declaration, "and so have I," still hung in the air, a bold claim that had turned heads, and raised eyebrows among the elders, their alien features twisting into expressions that ranged from reverent nods to outright confusion. I caught a few whispers rippling through the crowd below, a Zerathian princess and a human, with the blade's blessing. The drama was thickening faster than nebula fog, and I couldn't help but feel like we just announced our engagement at a funeral. Zara turned to me, her violet eyes sparkling with that mix of royal confidence and mischievous fire, her white hair catching the starlight as she pressed closer, her curvaceous form molding against mine in a way that was equal parts comforting and dangerously distracting. "Illy, they need to see us united," she murmured, her voice low and laced with intent, her pointed ears twitching playfully. Before I could respond, she tilted her head and planted a kiss on my lips right there, in full view of the entire assembly. Gasps echoed up from the hall, followed by a smattering of awkward coughs, and one particularly loud choke from a tentacled diplomat who nearly dropped his data slate. The drama skyrocketed. If the enemy fleet didn't kill us, the scandal just might. I pulled back gently, my face burning hotter than a supernova. "Zara, maybe a private announcement first?" I whispered, trying to keep my voice steady while her gown's silky fabric whispered against my uniform, sending my thoughts scattering like startled asteroids. She laughed, a rich, melodic sound that cut through the tension like a laser through butter, her pale skin flushing with delight. "Oh, Illy, humans and your quaint customs. On Zerathia, we seal alliances with passion, not parchment." Besides, she added with a wink, her hand sliding down to squeeze mine. "It gets their attention, doesn't it?" Down below, a furry ambassador from Orvian was frantically consulting his translator, muttering, "Did she just propose with her mouth?" The awkwardness escalated as the council summoned us to the strategy dais, a raised platform ringed by glowing consoles where admirals and scholars awaited. Zara strode in regally, her hips swaying with that effortless allure, while I trailed behind, the blade at my side humming faintly as if chuckling at my discomfort. The head elder, a stern-faced being from Xandor with skin like weathered obsidian, cleared his throat dramatically. "Princess Zara, blade wielder Illy, this union you proclaim? It complicates command protocols. Humans are not integrated into our royal matrices." His eyes darted between us, lingering a beat too long on where Zara's arm looped possessively through mine. Zara tilted her head, her white hair cascading like a defiant waterfall. "Complicates? Elder, it simplifies everything. Illy's touch awakens the blade. My heart awakens his potential. Together, we are the prophecy fulfilled." She leaned into me, her breast brushing my arm in a way that was entirely accidental except for the sly sparkle in her violet eyes that said otherwise. I stifled a cough, the drama of the moment clashing hilariously with the very human urge to blush. "Yes," what she said, I managed, earning a ripple of uneasy laughter from the younger officers. One, a lanky alien with antennae, whispered to his neighbor, the humans turning as red as a Rigelian sunset. "Is that a mating signal?" The humor bubbled up unexpectedly when Zara, ever the dramatist, decided to demonstrate. "Watch," she declared, pulling me into the center of the dais. She drew the blade from my belt carefully, since it stayed dull in her grasp, and handed it back. As my fingers closed around the hilt, golden light erupted, bathing the entire chamber in warm radiance. The elders shielded their eyes, But Zara, undeterred, pressed her body flush against mine, her curves fitting perfectly as she whispered loud enough for all to hear. "See, our energies harmonize." The light intensified, pulsing in rhythm with our closeness, and suddenly, a holographic star map on the console nearby glitched, projecting not fleet positions, but an embarrassingly romantic Zerathian love ballad, complete with floating heart icons. Laughter exploded from the ranks, the awkward situation diffusing into chaos. "The blade approves," someone hooted. The obsidian elder pinched the bridge of his nose, muttering, "Protocol be damned, this is either genius or galactic farce." I couldn't help but grin, pulling Zara closer amid the chuckles. "Well, at least the fleet knows we're serious," I quipped, earning a proud squeeze from her. But the drama reignited swiftly. Sensors pinged, an advance enemy scout ship breaching the outer perimeter, its dark blade signature flickering like a bad omen. We rushed to the command bridge, the awkward humor fading into heightened tension as klaxons wailed. Zara and I took positions side by side at the tactical array, her psychic interface linking seamlessly with my blade's energy. "Illy, channel through me," she urged, her hand on my thigh under the console, a touch that was both strategic and scandalously intimate, drawing raised eyebrows from the crew. The drama peaked as the scout locked weapons, a sleek dagger of a ship, crewed by the warlord's surviving elite, broadcasting a taunt. "Terran pretender, your Princess Zara won't save you from the shadows." Zara's eyes flashed with fury. "Pretender, I'll show them alliance." She amplified my swing through the interface, and I slashed the air, the blade's arc projecting a golden beam that vaporized the scout in a spectacular burst of debris. Cheers erupted, but the awkward twist came when the explosion's shockwave rattled the bridge, knocking over a tray of nutrient gels. One splattered across the elder's robes, turning his obsidian skin a gooey pink. "By the stars," he sputtered, while Zara and I dissolved into laughter, her body shaking against mine. "Pink suits you, elder," she teased, heightening the drama with irreverent humor that bonded the crew instantly. Yet, as we stabilized, another awkward situation unfolded. Comms intercepted a personal message from the enemy leader, the Dark Blade's wielder, to Zara. "Princess, your human plaything delays the inevitable. Return to Zerathia, wed as tradition demands, or watch your academy burn." Her face paled dramatically, pointed ears drooping for the first time, and she gripped my arm like a lifeline. The chamber fell silent, the humor evaporating into raw tension. "They invoke ancient betrothals," she whispered, violet eyes brimming with conflict. "A rival prince from Dravex? I refused him years ago." I felt a surge of possessive drama twist in my gut. Over my glowing blade, I growled, pulling her into a fierce embrace that silenced doubters. But the awkwardness lingered, whispers of scandalous human interference buzzed among traditionalists. Zara straightened, her curvaceous form radiating defiance. "No betrothal binds me now. Ilya's my choice, blade, heart, and stars." To prove it, she kissed me again, deeper this time, right there on the bridge. The crew averted eyes or cheered, but the elder sighed comically. Must every alliance come with demonstrations? The humor lightened the moment, but the drama soared as fleet reports flooded in, the main enemy armada warping in, bolstered by Dravex reinforcements, the very prince's forces. Awkward indeed. My lover's jilted ex was gunning for us across the void. We scrambled into battle prep, Zara and I coordinating strikes, her touches under the console now urgent signals of reassurance. "He's no match for us," she murmured, her fingers tracing my palm, igniting the blade's glow subtly. As fighters launched, a hilarious mishap struck. My human-sized flight suit, jury-rigged for the cockpit, split at the seams mid-briefing, exposing my chest to the amusement of pilots. "Earthling armor charming?" one quipped. Zara fixed it with a psychic tug, her laughter husky. "I'll mend more than that later." The crew roared, awkwardness forging unbreakable camaraderie. The battle loomed, drama at fever pitch, enemy ships decloaked, dark blades aboard countering our gold. I led the charge from the flagship, Zara's voice in my implant. "For us, Illy for the awkward, beautiful mess we've made." Swinging into the fray, the blade carved through hulls, but a boarding party teleported aboard Dravex commandos, faces twisted in jealous rage. "The princess is ours," their leader snarled. Zara met them head-on, telekinesis flinging them like dolls, while I slashed with dramatic precision, golden arcs turning the corridor into a light show. One commando tripped over his own cloak, humor amid chaos, tumbling into a bulkhead. "Sloppy," Zara laughed, heightening the thrill. But the leader lunged at her. Blade raised, I intercepted, our weapons clashing in sparks that shook the ship. pinned awkwardly against a console. My suit tearing further, I quipped, "Bad day for tailoring." Zara blasted him free, and together we dispatched the boarders, her body shielding mine in a tangle of limbs that drew wolf whistles from surviving crew. Victorious but breathless, we shared a heated glance, drama underscoring our bond. Back on the bridge, the elder clapped my shoulder, gently, avoiding the goo. "Your methods work, but next time, warn us before the kissing." Laughter rippled, easing the awkward heightening into resolve. Yet, as the armada closed, Zara whispered, "The prince himself leads them. This gets personal." The drama coiled tighter, humor our shield against the storm, humanity's quirky charm turning galactic war into a tale of lovers defying fate. As the last echoes of laughter from the bridge faded into the determined hum of the flagship's engines, propelling us toward the closing maw of the enemy armada, Zara and I found ourselves retreating to the captain's quarters, a rare moment of reprieve carved from the chaos, sanctioned by the elder's gruff nod and a knowing wink. "Recharge your alliance," he'd muttered, the awkward humor still lingering in his voice as he turned back to the tactical displays. The door hissed shut behind us, sealing out the clamor of battle prep, leaving only the soft thrum of the ship and the weight of what lay ahead. Zara's violet eyes met mine, burning with a fierce intensity that spoke of more than strategy. It was a promise, raw and urgent, born from the drama we just survived. She moved first, her curvaceous form closing the distance with that effortless Zerathian grace, her white hair spilling like liquid moonlight over her shoulders as her hands found my chest. The torn remnants of my flight suit hung open, exposing skin still flushed from the fight, and she traced the lines there with fingertips that carried a psychic warmth, sending gentle waves of connection through me. "Illy," she whispered, her voice husky with need, her pointed ears quivering subtly as she pressed her body against mine, the elegant gown molding to her shape and sharing its heat. "Before we face him, my past, our future, let me show you what this union truly means. Not just words or blades, but us, completely." The air between us thickened with anticipation, every breath sinking as her lips claimed mine in a kiss that started tender but deepened into something consuming. Her mouth moved with a sensual rhythm, tasting of sweet nebula wine from the earlier celebrations, her tongue exploring with a gentle insistence that drew soft sighs from us both. My hands roamed her back, feeling the silken glide of her gown as it slipped lower, revealing the smooth expanse of her pale skin, dotted with those faint glowing freckles that pulsed brighter now, responding to her rising emotions like stars awakening. She guided my fingers to the delicate clasps at her sides, and with a whisper of fabric, the gown pooled at her feet, leaving her bare before me, her full, inviting curves illuminated by the cabin's soft starlight filters. Every inch a masterpiece of alien beauty that made my heart race. Zara's hands worked deftly on my suit, peeling away the damaged fabric until nothing separated us, our skin meeting in a rush of warmth that felt like coming home to the cosmos itself. She led me to the wide viewport berth, where the stars streaked by in hypnotic trails, framing our intimacy like a private galaxy. We sank onto the plush linens together, her body arching gracefully beneath me as I kissed along her neck, savoring the delicate texture of her skin, and the way her breath hitched when my lips brushed her pointed ears. "Yes, Illy?" "There," she murmured, her voice a melodic encouragement, her fingers weaving into my hair to guide me lower, across the swell of her breasts where her glowing freckles formed delicate patterns, sensitive to my touch. The connection deepened as I explored her with reverent care, my mouth tracing circles that elicited soft, breathy moans, her body responding with fluid waves of pleasure. Her hands mirrored mine, gliding over my chest and down my sides, discovering every contour with a lover's curiosity, her psychic energy weaving subtle threads that amplified sensations, making each caress feel like a shared dream, intimate and profound. She shifted, rolling us so she straddled me, her white hair cascading around us like a veil, her violet eyes locking onto mine with unwavering trust. "Feel me, all of me," she breathed, guiding my hands to her hips as she lowered herself slowly, our bodies joining in a seamless union that drew gasps from us both. The rhythm built naturally, her movements graceful and passionate, hips rolling in a dance that echoed the stars outside, slow at first, savoring the deep connection, then quickening with building urgency. Her curves pressed against me, soft and yielding yet strong, every motion sending waves of shared ecstasy through our linked minds. I met her pace, my hands supporting her waist, feeling the subtle glow of her skin intensify, bathing us in a warm, golden light that mirrored the blade's aura nearby. Zara's moans grew more fervent, her pointed ears flushing deeper, her body trembling as pleasure crested between us, her psychic bond flooding me with visions of our future, battles won, worlds united, always with this closeness at the core. We moved together in perfect harmony, sweat glistening on her pale form, her breasts rising and falling with each breath as she leaned down to kiss me deeply, tongues entwining in time with our bodies. The intensity peaked in a shared release, waves of bliss crashing over us like a supernova's embrace, her cry soft and exultant, mine a groan of utter fulfillment, our forms locked in trembling aftershocks. She collapsed against my chest, her heart pounding in sync with mine, the glowing freckles fading to a gentle shimmer as we caught our breath, wrapped in each other's arms amid the streaking stars. In that tender afterglow, Zara nestled closer, her fingers tracing lazy patterns on my skin, reigniting faint sparks even as peace settled. "This is our strength, Illy," she whispered, her voice laced with emotion. "Human passion and Zerathian soul forged into one. The blade chose you, but I choose us every moment." I held her tight, the blade on the bedside table humming faintly in approval, its golden light pulsing softly as if attuned to our bond. The viewport showed the enemy fleet drawing nearer, but in this sanctuary, we were invincible, recharged not just in body, but in spirit. Yet, even as we lingered, a subtle vibration from the blade pulled our attention, a psychic echo from Zara's mind linking to incoming transmissions. The drama of the battle loomed, but now infused with this newfound intimacy. We dressed slowly, her gown readjusting with a psychic flick, my suit mended by her touch, each brush of hands a promise of more. "For the stars, and for each other," she said, sealing it with a final, lingering kiss that left us both smiling, ready. We emerged onto the bridge hand in hand, the crew's knowing glances met with our united front, no awkwardness now, only heightened resolve. The elder raised an eyebrow at our radiant glow but said nothing, turning to the screens where the armada loomed massive, the Dravex Prince's flagship at its heart, broadcasting challenges. Zara's violet eyes hardened with determination, her body still humming with our shared energy. "They think to claim me. Let them face the lovers they've awakened." As fighters scrambled, and the first salvos lit the void, I gripped the blade, its power surging stronger than ever, amplified by our union. Golden arcs flew from my swings, carving through enemy shields with effortless precision, while Zara's telekinesis amplified from beside me, hurling debris like cosmic hammers. The battle raged thrillingly, our intimate bond turning every strike into an extension of that passionate rhythm, coordinated, unbreakable. A boarding alert blared, Dravex elites teleporting aboard, led by the prince himself. We met them in the corridors, Zara and I moving as one, her curves flashing in motion beside my glowing blade. The prince, a handsome but arrogant figure with silver hair and cold eyes, sneered at her. "Zara, you've debased yourself with this Terran." But she laughed, pressing against me defiantly. "Debasing? I've elevated us both." The clash was fierce, my blade parrying his dark counterpart in showers of sparks, Zara's psychic blasts shielding us. Humor flickered when one elite tripped over his ornate cape, echoing our earlier mishaps, but drama dominated as the prince lunged at her. I intercepted, our blades locking in a test of wills, the intimate energy from our quarters fueling my strength. With a surge, I shattered his weapon, golden light overwhelming the shadows. He fell to his knees, surprise etching his face. "Impossible. How?" Zara stepped forward, her presence regal. "Love, my prince, the kind you never understood." We subdued his forces swiftly, the ship trembling as our fleet pressed the advantage outside. Victorious cheers filled the comms, but in the quiet aftermath, as we returned to quarters briefly, Zara pulled me close again. "That was just the beginning," she murmured, her hands wandering teasingly, reigniting the warmth between us. A quick, passionate reaffirmation followed, bodies entwining urgently against the wall, her legs wrapping around me as we moved together in breathless harmony, clothes half shed, pleasure building fast to a shared peak that left us laughing, and spent, re-emerging, we led the final push, the armada crumbling under our united assault. The prince's surrender broadcast galaxy-wide marked our triumph, but it was our private victory, the deep, sensual bond that made us true conquerors. As the stars stabilized, Zara whispered in my ear, "Tonight, Illy, we celebrate properly, all night." The promise hung sweet and enticing, humanity's passion proving once more that love was the ultimate weapon. As the stars outside the viewport settled into their eternal dance, no longer marred by the fiery remnants of defeated ships, Zara's whispered promise lingered in the air like a caress, her breath warm against my ear. stirring echoes of our earlier intimacy that made the victory feel even more personal, more profound. The flagship's bridge had erupted in jubilant chaos, crews from a dozen worlds slapping shoulders, sharing toasts of shimmering elixirs, the elder's obsidian face cracking into a rare smile as he declared the armada routed. But for us, the real celebration beckoned in the quiet sanctuary of our quarters, where the hum of the engines faded into a soothing backdrop, and the weight of the galaxy slipped away like a discarded cloak. Zara led me there with a sultry glance over her shoulder, her white hair swaying, her gown hugging her curves in that way that always quickened my pulse, promising a night where battles were forgotten in favor of tender conquests. We crossed the threshold, the door sealing with a soft sigh, and she turned to me, violet eyes gleaming with anticipation. Her hands found mine, pulling me close, our bodies aligning in that familiar, electric harmony we discovered amid the stars. "My king of Terra," she murmured, her lips brushing mine as her fingers traced the lines of my jaw, down my neck, reigniting the fire that never truly dimmed between us. The blade, resting on a nearby pedestal, pulsed faintly in response, its golden light casting warm shadows across the room, as if blessing our union. She pressed against me, her full form soft and inviting, and we sank onto the berth together, clothes shedding like unnecessary armor, skin meeting skin in a rush of shared heat. Our lovemaking that night was a symphony of rediscovery, slow, deliberate touches that mapped every inch of each other, her glowing freckles flaring brighter with each gasp, her pointed ears quivering as my kisses trailed lower, drawing out moans that echoed our earlier passions but with a deeper, victorious tenderness. She moved above me with graceful rhythm, hips rolling in waves that built to ecstatic peaks, our breaths mingling, bodies entwining in perfect sync. The psychic bond she wove amplified it all, sharing flashes of her joy, her love, until we crested together in waves of bliss, collapsing in a tangle of limbs, hearts pounding as one. Afterward, she nestled against my chest, her white hair splayed like a silken fan, her pale skin still flushed, and we talked in hushed tones about the future, rebuilding alliances, exploring the hidden vaults the Blade's maps had revealed, forging a new era where humans weren't just survivors but leaders. But as the hours slipped toward the Academy's artificial dawn, a subtle unease crept in, like a distant comet's tail brushing the horizon. The Blade's hum grew insistent, not the approving pulse from before, but a rhythmic vibration that tugged at my thoughts. I shifted, propping myself on an elbow, gazing at Zara's serene face as she dozed lightly, her curves rising and falling with gentle breaths. "Something's off," I whispered to myself, reaching for the sword. As my fingers closed around the hilt, the golden light surged, not the warm glow of alliance, but a blinding flash that flooded the room, searing images into my mind like a forced download. Visions assaulted me, ancient battlefields where human warriors clashed with Zerathians, not as allies but as bitter foes. I saw the blades forging, not in unity, as the holograms had claimed, but in desperation, a weapon designed to bind and control alien minds, embedding psychic hooks that turned lovers into puppets. And then, the twist hit like a warp core breach. Zara's face appeared in the visions, not as my beloved, but as a key architect of the betrayal 10,000 years ago. She wasn't just a princess. She was an immortal guardian, her form preserved through cryogenic cycles and psychic rebirths, tasked with safeguarding Zerathia's secrets. The joke gift of the rusty sword, a calculated ploy to awaken it in a human descendant, binding me to her will, using our intimacy to siphon the blade's power back to her people. I gasped, dropping the hilt as the light dimmed, my heart hammering in betrayal's cold grip. Zara stirred, her violet eyes fluttering open, innocent at first, then widening as she read the shock on my face. "Illy, what is it?" she asked, sitting up, her naked form still radiant in the afterglow, but now it felt like a trap, her curves a siren song that had lured me into vulnerability. I backed away, grabbing a robe, the room suddenly feeling confined, the stars outside mocking with their indifferent vastness. "The blade, it showed me everything," I stammered, voice cracking with the surprise of it all. "You're not who you say, the prophecies, our bond, it's all a lie." Her expression shifted, from confusion to a flicker of ancient sorrow, her pointed ears drooping as the mask cracked. "Illy, wait, let me explain," she pleaded, reaching out, but I flinched, the psychic hum between us now feeling invasive, like tendrils probing my thoughts. The powerful twist unraveled further the invasion we'd repelled, orchestrated by her, using the Dravex prince, her former ally, as a pawn to force the blade's activation. Our passions, our victories, they were threads in a web she'd spun across millennia, drawing out Terra's latent power to bolster Zerathia's fading empire. "I didn't expect to fall for you," she confessed, tears glistening in her violet eyes, her body trembling as she clutched the sheets. "The plan was control, but your humanity, it changed me. The bond is real now, Illy, please." Surprise layered upon surprise as the blade, now pulsing erratically on the floor, interfaced with the ship systems unbidden, alarms blaring as hidden Zerathian codes activated, locking down the flagship. Crew voices crackled over the intercom. "Sabotage! Systems overriding, heading towards Zerathia coordinates." I realized the depth of the deception. Our triumph had been the setup for Zerathia's resurgence, with me as the unwitting key. Zara rose, her graceful form moving toward me with desperate elegance, but I grabbed the blade, its glow responding only to my touch, shielding me from her psychic reach. "Illy, don't," she begged, her voice breaking, the drama of our love twisting into tragedy. But the surprise wasn't done. A final vision from the blade revealed a counter-prophecy. A human wielder could break the cycle. Freeing both species from ancient chains, my hand tightened on the hilt, the power surging not to control, but to liberate. "If our bond was ever real," I said, voice steady amid the chaos, "help me end this." Her eyes searched mine, the immortal guardian warring with the woman who'd tasted true passion. As the ship hurtled towards Zerathia's hidden stronghold, reinforcements scrambling in confusion, Zara hesitated, then nodded, her white hair framing a face etched with resolve. "For us," she whispered, stepping to my side, her hand hovering near mine, the twist forcing a choice that could shatter empires or forge something new. The blade's light enveloped us both, no longer a tool of betrayal, but a beacon of uncertain hope. Surprises kept unfolding. Scans showed the prince's surrender was feigned, his forces regrouping for a double cross, but with Zara's secrets laid bare. Our alliance, twisted as it was, might be the galaxy's salvation. We raced to the bridge, her gown hastily donned, my mind reeling from the revelations. The elder greeted us with suspicion, but Zara confessed everything in a dramatic torrent, her voice echoing through the comms. "I was the betrayer, but Ali, he's the redeemer." Crews murmured in shock, the powerful twist rippling outward as alliances fractured and reformed in real time. In the command center, as Zerathia's planet loomed on screens, a swirling orb of mystic storms, I channeled the blade's true potential, hacking into the override codes with Zara's guidance. The ship shuddered, course correcting, but enemy vessels, Zerathian loyalists hidden among our ranks, decloaked, firing salvos that rocked us. The battle reignited with surprising ferocity, lasers streaking as I swung the blade through interfaces, golden energy disrupting their tech. Zara fought beside me, her telekinesis shielding, tears streaming as she confronted her past. "I lived lifetimes for this moment," she admitted amid the chaos, her body dodging blasts with agile grace. A direct hit breached the hull nearby, debris flying, but we pressed on, the twist culminating in a desperate gambit, merging our essences through the blade, her immortality flowing into me, amplifying the glow to a galactic pulse that disabled the traitor's fleet in a blinding wave. As silence fell, the ship stabilizing, Zara collapsed into my arms, her form weakening from the transfer. "The cycle breaks," she whispered, violet eyes dimming. But surprise layered deeper. The blade absorbed her essence, not to kill, but to evolve her body reforming with human vitality, pointed ears softening, immortality traded for immortal life with me. "Illy, I'm free," she gasped, our kiss sealing the transformation amid awed stares. The galaxy reeled from the twist, Zerathia exposed, humans exalted as balancers. We stood united, no longer puppet and master, but equals in love's surprising forge. Yet, as peace dawned, the blade whispered of greater shadows, ancient entities beyond stars. Awakened by our upheaval, the adventure continued, twists promising more surprises in the void. As the blade's radiant pulse faded into a gentle afterglow, washing over Zara's transformed form like a cosmic baptism, she blinked up at me from my arms, her violet eyes now flecked with flecks of warm brown, human warmth mingling with Zerathian fire. Her pointed ears had softened to elegant curves, her pale skin taking on a subtle rosy undertone, and as she sat up slowly, testing her newfound mortality with a tentative stretch, her curvaceous figure moved with an even more vibrant energy, free from the weight of eons. The bridge crew stared in stunned silence, the elder's obsidian jaw practically unhinging as he muttered, "By the void, did she just go human on us?" The drama of the moment hung thick, our kiss still lingering on our lips, turning what should have been a triumphant hush into an awkward tableau of gaping aliens trying not to stare at the princess who just traded immortality for a very mortal embrace. Zara laughed first, a rich, unburdened sound that broke the tension like sunlight through storm clouds, her white hair tumbling wild around her shoulders as she pulled me closer, her body pressing against mine with unabashed affection. Illy, look at me. No more endless cycles, just you, me, and whatever deliciously finite adventures await. But the humor twisted awkwardly when she stood, her hastily donned gown slipping precariously low on one side, revealing far more glowing freckles than the crew was prepared for. A young technician from Lunara squeaked and buried his face in a console, while the elder cleared his throat with dramatic exaggeration. Princess? Zara, this is unprecedented, and perhaps wardrobe malfunction unprecedented. Zara glanced down, gasped theatrically, then tugged it up with a wink at me. Oops, mortality comes with gravity, apparently. Illy, darling, help a girl out. I fumbled to adjust the fabric, my hands brushing her curves in front of everyone, heat flooding my face as chuckles rippled through the bridge, awkward. Yes, but bonding us in the absurdity. You're killing me here, I whispered, earning her playful nip at my ear. Better than immortally bored, right? The elder, recovering his composure, stepped forward with heightened drama, waving a holographic decree. This evolution changes everything. Zerathia will revolt, claiming sacrilege, and you too. He gestured wildly between us, a human and a half-breed consort. The galaxy's diplomats will have neural aneurysms. Whispers escalated into a frenzy. She's mortal now. Does that mean babies? One officer blurted, then clapped a hand over his mouth, turning as red as a binary sunset. The awkwardness peaked when Zara, ever bold, grabbed my hand and declared to the comms array broadcasting galaxy-wide, "Hear me, Zerathia, I choose life with Illy, Blade Wielder of Terra. Our union ends the old wars." Cheers erupted from human allies, but Zerathian channels crackled with outrage, holographic faces of nobles screeching. Blasphemy, the Guardian defiled. One particularly stuffy lord zoomed in, his tentacles flailing. Princess, your ears, they've gone soft. And that human, did he do unspeakable things? Zara burst out laughing, leaning into me. Unspeakable? Oh, Lord Vexar, you have no idea, but yes, spectacularly so. The bridge dissolved into guffaws, even the elder snorting nebula whined through his nostrils, but the drama coiled tighter. Incoming transmissions showed Zerathian loyalists mobilizing, their fleet warping in with vengeful fury. We scrambled into action. Zara's mortal vitality making her movements delightfully clumsy at first, she tripped over a cable, landing in my lap with a yelp that drew wolf whistles. Whoa, gravity's a beast? She giggled, scrambling up as I steadied her, our bodies tangling briefly in a way that had the technician averting his eyes again. Focus, love, save the tumbling for later, I teased, handing her a station. But heightened drama struck as the first Zerathian salvos rocked the ship, alarms wailing while Zara interfaced with defenses, her psychic energy now laced with human intuition, boosting shields tenfold. Ha, mortality makes me punchier. She crowed, but awkward humor hit when her enthusiasm overloaded a panel, spraying sparks that singed the elder's robe again. Pink was bad enough, now charcoal? He roared comically, patting himself out as we laughed amid laser fire. The battle escalated into pure chaos, enemy boarders teleporting into engineering, ancient Zerathian purists, faces twisted in zealous rage. Traitor, return to your cryogenic tomb, their leader bellowed at Zara. She faced them, chest heaving, gown tearing at the shoulder in the fray. Tomb, this is living. I charged in, blade glowing gold, slashing through energy barriers with dramatic sweeps that sent foes tumbling like dominoes. One purist swung a ceremonial staff at Zara. She dodged, but it hooked her gown, ripping it halfway down her back, exposing smooth skin to the gasps of the engineering team. Eyes up here, boys, she snapped, telekinetically hurling him into a coolant tank with a splash. I finished him with a flourish, pulling her behind cover, our bodies pressed close in the heat. You're a walking distraction, I murmured, stealing a quick kiss that drew cheers from our crew. Awkwardness layered on as reinforcements arrived, human pilots joining the fray. One accidentally holo-projecting a "congrats on the downgrade." Zara. Banner mid-fight, complete with cartoon ears. Laughter boomed even as explosions rocked the hull, lightening the drama just enough to keep morale sky-high. But the true heightening came when the purist leader activated a psychic bomb, ancient tech meant to revert Zara's transformation, flooding the bay with mind-warping mist. She staggered, violet eyes flickering, her body shimmering as immortality clawed back. "Illy, it's pulling me," she cried, drama peaking in her voice. I grabbed her, blade raised high, channeling our bond through the hilt, golden light clashing with the mist in a spectacular vortex. "Not today," I roared, the weapon drawing on our intimate connection, memories of our nights flashing like fuel, her curves under my hands, moans in the stars. The crew watched, awkward silence broken by the technician whispering, "Is this sexy therapy?" Zara laughed through gritted teeth, pushing back with me. The mist recoiled, her form stabilizing, fully mortal, stronger. Together, we unleashed a combined blast, vaporizing the bomb and scattering the boarders in a humiliating retreat, one tripping over his own robes into an open vent. Victorious but breathless, we emerged onto the bridge, Zara's gown now a tattered masterpiece held together by psychic wisps, and my jacket draped over her shoulders. The elder greeted us with mock severity. "Next time, fight naked, at least the uniforms survive." Gales of laughter followed, but drama surged anew, a Zerathian envoy hailing, not with war cries, but surrender. "Guardian, no, Zara, we see your choice. The old ways end." Cheers exploded, but awkward twist, they demanded a unity ceremony immediately, broadcast live. Zara grinned wickedly. "With pleasure, but Ali, you'll have to officiate in human style." The ceremony unfolded in the grand hall, hastily decorated with holographic stars, Zara radiant in a borrowed gown that hugged her mortal curves perfectly. I stood at the altar, blade in hand, stumbling through vows. "Do you, Zara, take this awkward human?" She pulled me into a deep kiss mid-sentence, drawing roars. The elder, as witness, quipped, "I now pronounce you dangerously compatible." Humor peaked when confetti cannons misfired, dousing nobles in glitter, Zerathians sparkling like disco balls. Yet, as vows sealed with another passionate embrace, heightened drama whispered through the blade, the ancient entities from the vision stirring, drawn by our union's power. Zara sensed it too, her hand in mine. "Our awkward happily ever after just got cosmic," she murmured, violet brown eyes twinkling. The galaxy celebrated, but shadows loomed our love, forged in humor and drama, ready for whatever awkward apocalypse came next. As the echoes of laughter from the confetti-doused nobles faded into a warm, harmonious hum, filling the grand hall with the sparkle of newfound unity, Zara and I stood at the center of it all, our hands clasped tightly, her violet brown eyes locking onto mine with a depth that spanned not just lifetimes, but the infinite possibilities of stars yet unexplored. The blade rested between us on a velvet pedestal, its golden glow softened to a gentle ember, as if content in its role as witness to this perfect convergence of worlds. Her borrowed gown, now mended by deft Zerathian hands into a flowing masterpiece of silver and gold thread, hugged her mortal curves with elegant simplicity, her white hair crowned with delicate starflowers that caught the light like captured constellations. I, in a hastily tailored human-style tunic that actually fit for once, felt the weight of the galaxy's hope settle on my shoulders, not as a burden, but as a shared promise. Light and full of wonder, the elder stepped forward, his obsidian face beaming with uncharacteristic warmth, raising a crystalline chalice that shimmered with nebula-infused wine. "By the blades of Terra, in the hearts of Zerathia," he intoned, his voice carrying through every comm channel across the Academy, and beyond, "I declare Zara, Annalie bound in eternal alliance, not of chains or prophecies, but of choice, of love that rewrites the stars themselves." The hall erupted in cheers, a symphony of alien voices blending with human whoops, holographic fireworks bursting overhead in cascades of color that painted our faces in joyful hues. Zara squeezed her touch sending that familiar psychic spark through me, now pure and unburdened, whispering directly into my soul, "This is our forever. Illy messy, awkward, and utterly ours, *." We drank from the chalice together, the wine sweet and effervescent on our tongues, sealing the vow with a kiss that drew fresh applause deep, lingering, her lips soft and tasting of victory and home, as we parted, breathless and smiling. The blade ignited one final time, not in battle's fury, but in a radiant bloom that projected visions across the hall. Terra's ancient fleets sailing alongside Zerathian mystic spires, humans and aliens walking hand in hand on verdant worlds, children with pointed ears and warm smiles playing under dual suns. Gasps turned to tears of awe, the elder nodding solemnly. "The Lost Blade speaks its truth. Your union births a new era." In the days that followed, the galaxy transformed around us, each moment a brushstroke in the masterpiece of our shared life. The Academy, once a tense outpost, became a thriving hub of reconciliation, human scholars teaching tactile engineering to psychic Zerathians, who in turn shared visions of emotional depth that left my Earthborn friends wide-eyed and inspired. Zara and I led the first joint expedition to those hidden vaults from the Blade's maps, venturing into shimmering cave systems on forgotten moons where relics hummed to life at our combined touch. One evening, under a canopy of bioluminescent vines, we unearthed a crystalline archive that played recordings of Terra's first contact with Zerathia, not war, but a festival of dance and song, lovers from both worlds twirling in zero gravity. "See," Zara whispered, her head on my shoulder, her curves nestled perfectly against me. We were always meant for this. Awkward moments still peppered our path, of course, blessed reminders of how we began. During a diplomatic banquet on Zerathia's reborn capital, Zara's mortal appetite led her to devour an entire platter of spiced nebula fruit, only to let out a very unprincess-like belch that echoed through the throne room. The nobles froze, but she laughed first, pulling me into a kiss. "Blame your human stomach, it's contagious," I quipped, and soon the hall roared with mirth, barriers crumbling in shared humanity. Or the time we attempted a traditional Earth wedding dance for cultural exchange, my two left feet tangling with her graceful steps, sending us tumbling into a fountain to the delight of onlookers. "Best dip ever," she giggled, water dripping from her white hair as I helped her up, our soaked clothes clinging in ways that sparked blushes and cheers alike, but beneath the humor bloomed deeper joys. We built a home on a terraformed asteroid, its gardens bursting with earth roses entwined with Zerathian glow vines, where sunsets painted the sky in hues of violet and gold. There, in the quiet of starlit nights, our love unfolded in its most intimate forms, bodies entwining on silken sheets overlooking the void, her moans soft symphonies as I traced her glowing freckles, our rhythms slow and reverent, building to peaks of shared ecstasy that left us trembling in each other's arms. Her pregnancy came as a surprise gift from the Blade's final blessing, announced one dawn when she placed my hand on the gentle swell of her belly. "A little Terrathian," she said, tears of joy in her eyes, "with your fire and my stars." We celebrated with tender lovemaking under the rising sun, her curves fuller, more radiant, our connection deeper than ever. Years flowed like gentle comets. Our child, Lurael, arrived with a cry that lit the room in golden sparkles, tiny pointed ears softening to human curves, violet-brown eyes blinking up at us with curiosity. She grew into a whirlwind of laughter, wielding toy blades that glowed only for her touch, bridging worlds with effortless charm. We'd watch her chase fireflies in the garden, Zara's head on my shoulder, her hand in mine. From a rusty joke to this, she'd murmur, and I'd kiss her temple. Best plot twist in the galaxy. The ancient entities the Blade once warned of, they emerged not as foes, but as benevolent watchers, ethereal beings who appeared in dreams, guiding us to broker peace across forgotten sectors. With Zara's intuition and my blade, we quelled their unrest, turning potential cataclysm into alliances that span the cosmos. The Galactic Council named us eternal emissaries, but we preferred quiet titles, lovers, parents, partners in every adventure. On our 10th anniversary, we returned to the Academy's atrium where it all began. The same holographic stars danced overhead as I knelt, not with a rusty sword, but a circlet of Terra steel and Zerathian crystal. "Zara, my princess of the void, will you keep rewriting the stars with me?" Her answer was a kiss that stopped time, tears mingling with laughter as Lurael cheered. "Mama and Papa forever." As we stood there, the blade, now a family heirloom, pulsed softly one last time, its light weaving through us like a final embrace. The rust was long gone, replaced by eternal shine, just as our love had transformed betrayal into belonging. Humanity wasn't the conqueror or the pet. We were the spark that ignited hearts across the stars, proving that the greatest power wasn't in weapons or prophecies, but in two souls choosing each other against the infinite. And so, under those dancing stars, with Zara's warmth against me, our daughter's hand in ours, and the galaxy as our witness, we stepped into forever not as king and queen, but as Ellie. And Zara, simple, extraordinary, and utterly, beautifully human alien. The void whispered its approval, and in that perfect ending, we knew the story of the rusty sword was just the beginning of an endless, love-lit adventure.